Hello, I'm Elspeth Jackson from Ragged Life. I'm also the author of Rag Rugs, Pillows and More. In this tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to make a shaggy rag rug, or do the shaggy technique of rag rugging here, using the rag rug spring tool. It's a very simple technique and you'll be whizzing along in no time. I hope you enjoy the tutorial and good luck. So there are a few things that you need to be able to make a shaggy rag rug. And the first one is the base, which is our hessian, which I've explained in my introduction to the tools of rag rugging video. But what you're looking for is a weave of hessian that's roughly 4 holes per centimetre or 10 holes per inch. And you also need a rag rug spring tool, like this one here. And you need some fabric, which has been cut into short strips that are about 7 centimetres long. You can do that using the gauge. And first of all, what we're going to do is we're just going to weave our spring tool so the pointed end is pushed through so that 2 strands of the hessian are on this opening bit of the spring tool. And then we're just going to grab a strip of fabric, we're going to push the lever so that the end comes up, and we're just going to trap the rag into the spring tool by releasing, and you're just going to gradually pull through so that half of it is on one side, half of it is on the other. And you generally want 1, 2 or 3 strands between one end and the next. I generally try and keep it consistent at 2 strands, but it doesn't matter, it's not the end of the world if you miss out a few more or too few. Then once you've got your first piece of shaggy rag rugging in, and that's as easy as it is, that is shaggy rag rugging, we're just going to build it up some more. You miss out 2 strands or 3 strands in the hessian, and you're going to just repeat that process. So you're going to once again dig through, capture 2, 3 or 1 strand onto the barrel. You're going to grab your next strip of fabric, open up the end and grab on and just pull through. And you're just going to keep doing that, maneuvering your way along the hessian, a little bit after each other, grabbing on, pulling through. And if you're using a thicker fabric, sometimes you'll have to cut your strips slightly narrower to make it easier to get through the hessian. If you're struggling to get it through, it generally helps to kind of wiggle as you go through or wiggle when you come back. So you're just going to grab on, pull through, and you keep going, and gradually it'll all begin to stand up like this. If you're doing a rug and you're doing it in rows, you'll then miss out 2 rows in the hessian before you do your next row generally. The rule of thumb is you never rag rug into bits of the hessian that have tightened up. You're always into bits that haven't tightened. So with your next row, you would be going in, once again grabbing strand onto there, and just pulling through, and you keep working, and it doesn't matter, as you can see, whether you go from left to right or right to left, but you're just very simply just pulling through. And I hope you'll agree with me when I say that this is a really simple technique. You don't need an awful lot of skill, it's more just kind of brute force. And you're just building up like so, and eventually once you've done a good amount of this, it'll build up to become any project you want, but generally a rug. And your idea is you don't want any visible hessian between your rags. So you can tell you've gone wrong if you go too far away. So say for example I missed out 5. This is an extreme example. And you rag in, and there's obviously hessian between that, and no one wants a bald rug. But that's pretty much the only thing that you can do wrong in this technique, is going too far away. You can go too close as well, so you're best kind of following my spacing. If you rag rug too close together, so you go into every hole for example, your hessian will begin to cave in, and it'll almost begin to pucker up like this, because the hessian won't be able to support that much fabric in one place. So if you find that your rug is beginning to cave in, start rag rugging a bit further away, and you may need to pull out a few bits just to loosen it up. But you can see that this is obviously a bit too loose. Around where you've rag rugged properly, you'll see that the hessian begins to tighten. like this. And that's what you're trying to achieve. Once you've done a good amount of this rag rugging, this will be vaguely what it looks like. And here you can see I've used a whole ton of different fabrics. I've used everything from t-shirt, chiffon, linen, fleece, jumper, anything and everything. But I hope you enjoyed that video and I hope you found it really useful, and I hope you saw how easy it is to do. All you need is the right tools and you'll be rag rugging away in no time.